Born in Lebanon in 1883, Kahlil Gibran moved with his family to New York City in 1895. He first gained recognition in the visual arts. Gibran studied in Boston and later in Paris, where he worked with Auguste Rodin, and he also exhibited his work in New York City and elsewhere. It was through literature, however, that he would gradually establish his reputation. Although he always maintained a close relationship between artistic expression and writing, The Prophet, published in 1923, remains his best-known and most influential work. Determining precisely what Gibran's philosophical message is proves more difficult than it might initially appear. The Prophet does not readily lend itself to reduction to a set of clearly defined propositions or principles. Perhaps the most appropriate way to approach the book, therefore, is to regard it primarily as a work of meditation. Its pages offer a succession of ideas capable of inspiring or challenging the reader, without necessarily giving rise to a coherent system of prescriptive beliefs. One of the most philosophically intriguing aspects of Gibran's project lies precisely in his attempt to identify and distill what he regards as the fundamental truths shared by different religious traditions. Rather than presenting any particular religion as the exclusive bearer of truth, he seeks to identify common elements across distinct religious systems. This aspiration can be understood as a particularly ambitious philosophical undertaking. Gibran's attempt to establish connections among different religious traditions is made even more explicit in other passages. In his book Sand and Foam, Gibran solemnly declares, "I love you when you bow in your mosque, kneel in your temple, pray in your church. For you and I are sons of one religion, and it is the Spirit." By placing different forms of religious expression within a shared spiritual framework, Gibran presents an inclusive conception of religious experience. Statements of this kind give his work something resembling a new poetic scripture, although one that is not exclusively associated with any particular religious tradition. Instead, Gibran's spirituality seeks a sufficiently universal language to establish a meaningful relationship with a range of religious traditions. Perplexity also occupies an important place within this conception. For Gibran, a state of uncertainty or confusion in the face of the world should not necessarily be regarded as a deficiency that must be immediately overcome. On the contrary, perplexity may constitute the starting point of knowledge. When confronted with the complexity of reality and aware of the difficulty of fully understanding it, we are prompted to seek answers, question our own convictions, and pursue the search for truth more deeply. In this way, our initial confusion before the world can become a source of intellectual stimulation. To reflect upon a reality whose complexity we cannot entirely master is, therefore, to embark upon a process that may ultimately lead toward greater understanding and enlightenment. This perspective also helps to explain the importance Gibran attaches to truth and beauty as fundamental aims of human existence. The pursuit of truth naturally occupies a central position within the philosophical tradition. Yet the relationship between philosophy and beauty is considerably more complex. Aesthetics represents one of the more difficult areas of philosophical inquiry, and throughout history, philosophers have not always accorded beauty the same importance they have given to truth. Gibran is distinctive precisely because he assigns such significance to the aesthetic dimension. For Gibran, beauty should not be regarded as something merely incidental to, or separate from, everyday existence. The creation of beauty and order in the way we live also constitutes a legitimate aim of human life. In this respect, The Prophet can be read as a warning against an excessively narrow conception of philosophical inquiry. The pursuit of truth is fundamental, but it does not necessarily exhaust what makes human existence meaningful. Beauty and love possess value in their own right, and fulfill roles that should not be neglected in favor of an exclusively intellectual conception of life. Thus, rather than offering a closed philosophical system or a definitive set of answers, The Prophet can be understood as an invitation to reflection. Part of its power lies in its ability to bring truth, beauty, love, spirituality, and human existence into dialogue with one another. Ultimately, The work suggests that an intellectually rich life should not be confined to the abstract pursuit of truth. It should also remain open to the experience of beauty, the affective dimension of existence, and the possibility of finding meaning in the many ways in which we relate to the world.